Okay, welcome to episode 2 of our Thumb and Swap, everybody. Okay, right now we're just showing you some of the setups of the 6.4 right now. At 65 miles per hour, it does a little over 2,000 RPM. And we're going to contrast this afterwards. 70 miles per hour, it is doing right at 2250 on the tachometer. The tachometer and everything is real smooth. Kind of give you an idea of what the dashboard is supposed to look like afterwards. So we have to give you kind of a foundation in the front. Also want you to take a look at the H&S Minimax. This is at idle. You can see the boost is not up. This is after running about 40 miles, 201 temperature on oil, and coolant at 194, and the pyrometer in there for you. Let's take a look at this truck, see what it looks like from the outside. This is Super Duty. You can see a little bubbling on the chrome. We're probably going to take that chrome off and we'll paint it white. But here's the engine itself and the inbox. Now, some of the reasons why we're doing this, take a look at this degas bottle. You'll see deposits all over, mineral deposits that are all over it. That comes from the gasket throwing pressure into the air, into the cooling system, and the cooling system spewing it on it and on the battery. You can see it here on the battery where it's come out and dried. And I use the G06 coolant. And you can see the other side is fairly clean. It doesn't have much problem with it. But watch this. I'm going to do the blow-by experiment that you should do. First of all, take this filler cap off, and you can see considerable blow-by. Now, this is just an idle, and the idle somewhere around 700 to 800 RPM in that neighborhood. And you can see that it has considerable blow-by. I'm going to move the camera around just a little bit here so you can see it as the sun kind of plays some tricks, but I want you to see how much blow-by. Now, the experiment that you can do with the cap is that you can take the cap and you can place it on top and see if the blow-by pushes it up. See, it pushes it up. A lot of blow-by. That shows you've got some pretty big problems with the rings that are getting ready to happen. So this is probably going to have a head gasket done, and before I pull this engine out, I will sell it under that. So I'm loosening the lid over here on the degas to show you how much fluid is actually in there, and look at all the gas that's coming out of there. I put antifreeze in here to keep it between the two lines of cold and hot, and when it gets pressured up you lose sight of it, and I've taken the pressure off of it. You can see it's low, and it continues to lose fluid the longer that I drive it, and so on longer trips I have to probably use a gallon and a half, and that's driving about 700 miles. A quick look inside, you can see that it's not in bad shape as far as the fluid goes, the coolant. It's not in real bad shape. All right, well, here's a good look at the front end of it. You'll see that I have the bug screen on this intercooler, but here's a good look at the front end of it. So you can see everything out here looks good, and everything in there looks pretty good. All right, let's shut the hood, and you'll see what we've got going. We've got some bubbles up there on the chrome Super Duty grill. We're going to probably take that chrome off. I'm going to paint it white like the hood. That's probably what we're going to do. And so we'll see what happens to that if I got enough time to do that. But you can see the truck's in good shape. Really good shape. Take a look around.
Now I've lost the hubs that go down there. I'm going to probably take those off and polish them while I've got it down. I want you to look though here. This is the exhaust area, how much black soot is in there. Yeah, it just gets all over the place. It just covers it up pretty bad. You can see how bad it is here if I take it and do that. See, that's pretty deep. Pretty bad. So I don't think the mix on the injectors is really good right now. But we have an H&S Minimax version 1 that is hooked up to it, and when it was lost its weight, then they put that Minimax in there, and the Minimax has done a real good job. I'll tell you a little bit about the Minimax. Now, I've had a lot of good friends that have tried to help me with this, and one of the things that tell me is that you cannot use the Minimax. I'm going to take that at face value, and I'm going to say, okay, you can't use the Minimax. In fact, I had a good friend, I went ahead and bought ST Plus tuner. So afterwards, one of the guys can tune with that. But where my transmission locks up and where it stays on the doesn't lock up, I should say, where it does lock up, where it doesn't lock up, is pretty well where I want this thing to be once I get the Cummins inside of it. We'll see what happens, because the only thing I've got to transfer over is the sensors, and once the sensors are transferred over, I'm going to leave the Minimax in there and I'm going to take it for a test drive, and I'm going to see how it works. Unless between now and then somebody convinces me don't even try it. If they say don't even try it, that's one thing. But what I've found is that most of the people that have done this after the Minimax came into existence, and there's really not a whole lot of programming that you can do. Bully Dog is taking it over to do some programming, but they cannot mess with the things that made the Minimax 1 illegal and what threw H&S out of business. I still have those functionalities with that, and I'm one of those guys that you just got to prove it to me. Once I get this thing going and I get it out there and try it, if that transmission is working just fine, I'm not going to mess with a bit of it. I can tune out anything that I want to tune out with the Minimax. And so we'll see how it goes. If I'm dreaming, we'll find in episode 11, I guess, if I'm dreaming. Well, here we are today, and this is Friday. This is the 14th, just before tax day. Friday the 14th, 2023. And we're expecting the engine to be delivered today, and that's why we're here. We're going to get it delivered, pull the shrink wrap off, get it all set up. We're going to spray it down, try to degrease it, get its first bath so we can start working with it. When it gets here, you'll be here, and we'll get it done. All right? All right, there's the truck. It's coming in. Make it around the block, come in here and back in. All right, here she is. Mr. Truck driver dropped her off. We'll cut that plastic off of it and take a look. All right, well, we got the first bath done. We've moved it indoors, and we're looking pretty good. I've already run it. I didn't have a video of running it, but I run it for just for a second or two. I wasn't sure if it had very much oil in it, if they shipped it with oil in it, and I'll kind of show you here in just a second what we got. I think we got an Allison setup back here with the converter, and there is the information. I can't find Allison anywhere on it, but I think that's what it is. I'll find out for you. But anyway, right here was the dipstick hole, and had to cover it up because I was doing spraying. And I was able to stick a rod down in there, and there was some oil in there. But nevertheless, that's what it looks like so far. Okay, so we're progressing a little bit, starting to get it broke down a little bit. And looks like this engine had had a freeze plug come out of it. Doesn't look like oil, although there's a little bit of oil. Here, you take a look. All right, that freeze plug's pretty new, and this did come from Canada. So I think it probably did have a freeze plug pop out of it. And I'll put a billet in there so it won't come out anymore. And down here, looks pretty good down on the crank. Although I think that seal was probably leaking just a little bit. That's what it looks like, all the grunge down here. So, by the way, here's a little blow-by tube for it. And I took that tube off a while ago, and that tube, sorry about that, and that tube was clean. It had a little bit of sticky on it, but apparently no blow-by on it. I didn't see any when I started up, so that's the latest so far. All right, so one of the interesting things about this industrial engine, this came off of a street sweeper up in Canada, and so it's an industrial setup. It's kind of a hybrid because it came out of an F800 Ford F800, which is a cab over type Ford. And a lot of the stuff on it I think we're going to be okay with. But anyway, one of the things that came with it was this monstrous fan. Let me show you. Look at this fan. You know, we can see how big that is. I'm going to measure it. Okay, from blade tip right here, across the center to blade tip here, 27 inches. 27 inches. And look at the blades. There's a lot of them. I'd like to keep this thing, put it on the truck. Let's go take a look and see what the fan is on the F350. Okay, so I measured it, and it's just about the same. It's about 26 3/4. But the fan that came with this unit, it looks like it moves a lot more air. I'm gonna see if it fits. If it fits, I'll keep it in there. I think it's gonna move air. So that's going to do it for today. Thanks for joining us on our new Cummins swap. We'll see you in episode 3.